Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board show, podcast, videocast, part number 3 here with our 3-hole hitter, Kelly Stewart, at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Check her out at Barstool Sportsbook, wagertalk.com. Kelly, welcome in. How you feeling?
Hey, Drew. Happy Thursday. Feeling pretty good. I've got a lot of college games I like this week, so I still have quite a bit of work to do before I release my 3-team underdog parlay. But I've got 2 legs down, so I'm excited. Just got to find that elusive third dog.
Yeah, get into that one. It's always a tough decision, that last pick there, guys.
And, especially last week, Drew, when I had Marshall and Liberty on my long list. Both went out right, and I did not put either one of them in there. Oh, what are you going to do? Think long, think wrong.
Story of my life. Keep it simple, stupid is what I always try to tell myself come Thursday, Friday of college football season. That usually works too. Like whatever your gut was telling you at the beginning, that's usually the way I like to go. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work that way, Kelly.
It's tough, but we're going to find it, Drew. Listen, as long as I go 2-1 against the spread every week, I'm happy. But to find those outright underdogs sometimes can just be so painful. Watching the games on Saturday going, I knew it.
Oh, I know. It's almost worse when you leave them off, guys. But hey, if you're new to the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast, what we're doing is going down in rotation order. If you go to the Wager Talk live odds screen, those little numbers next to the team names, we are going down each and every game on the board. This is part number 3. You can find the first 2 parts, Matt Joseph's Teddy Covers, at the Wager Talk YouTube channel, also below on Twitter. And now we got Kelly Stewart. We will have Robbie Vino in to finish it off. This section, we're going 153, 154 down to 173, 174, Oregon, California. Those set of games right now with Kelly in Vegas. So let's start it off here at the top. 8 o'clock Eastern kick here, Kelly. 153, 154, Pittsburgh and UNC. Pretty good matchup here in the ACC. We're seeing North Carolina minus 3-point home favorites, 64.5 being the total in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, listen, this is a North Carolina team that got a lot of hype last year. This year, things kind of cooled off. Lots of questions regarding Mac and if he's coming back next year, if he's going to retire. And then on the flip side, you got Pat Narduzzi, my favorite field goal kicking coach, who drives me absolutely bonkers. Listen, this is a really good matchup. I think it's going to be exciting to see. But I do want to say that I have a slight nod towards Pittsburgh here, taking the points in a matchup where another team just fails to play defense is kind of just one of those old adages, if you will, that makes me give a nod to the other side. Not sure I'm going to get to the window with it, but I will say I believe this was Marco's barking dog on Bet On It this week. So typically those do pretty well. So I may be joining him come Saturday.
Yeah, check out Bet On It on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, guys. Pittsburgh will, in my opinion, will win the point of attack plus the points. That's the side I'd look at as well. I mean, you bring up Pat Narduzzi. I remember you and John Murray always talking about him kicking field goals, and you know a lot about Mac being in the Big 12. Who do you think has the coaching advantage?
I definitely think Mac has the coaching advantage historically. Yeah. Obviously, Narduzzi's been around for a really long time as well. But I also think that North Carolina has the better offense here. And that's kind of historically what Mac, has always been, is a pretty decent offensive coach. Narduzzi, on the other hand, boy, does he shoot himself in the foot a lot. It is really frustrating to watch sometimes.
Yeah, his game day coaching leaves a lot to be desired. As we head to the Big Ten up next, 2:30 Eastern kick, 155, 156, Rutgers in Minnesota. Golden Gophers minus 14, 2-touchdown favorite here, pretty much across the board at the Wager Talk live odds screen. 41 being the total. What are we thinking? Scarlet Knights and Golden Gophers.
With this low total, it makes me want to take the points. I'm looking at Rutgers, trying to figure out if they can win this game outright, Drew, because that's, again, what I'm looking for. And unfortunately, I think it is too many points. I just don't know if they can get the outright W. Tanner Morgan looks like he is going to be back for the Golden Gophers, and I think that right there is going to be the difference maker for this team. Man, but Rutgers has been great against the spread, honestly. And the last 21 games, I was just sitting here with Errol Epstein reading some stuff, and I said, how can this be right? But it's true, 15-4-2 against the spread in their last 21 games. So I think I'll definitely be on the points here, but I just don't know if they can get the outright win. I got a little bit more work to do, but they are on my long list amongst a couple other double-digit dogs.
Kelly, you brought up something there that Teddy talked about. In college football, do you normally look for underdogs that can win outright? Do you ever kind of factor in the underdog that can kind of just stay within the points, or you don't want anything to do with that?
No, of course I do, Drew. And you'll see me give those underdogs out as well. Like Iowa State a couple weeks ago. Iowa State was on a long list versus Texas. And I was like, can they win this game outright? And then I was sitting there in my dad's recliner getting ready to go to the game in Gainesville. And I'm like, I have $0 on Iowa State money line. I'm so mad at myself. The fumble went our way for them not to get the outright win, but still get the cover. But I could not believe that me of all people that preaches, sprinkle a little bit of that on that money line, and I had $0 on it. So yeah, it can get really frustrating sometimes. But yes, of course, just I want to keep the dogs within the numbers. Every single dog that I'm giving out is because I think they're going to cover the spread. It's that little sprinkle, that outright winner that's going to get us to the finish line. Drew, last year, for example, I was up 52 units and I got a lot of questions about it. People are like, how is this possible? Well, if you're betting a half unit on every single one of these money lines, let's just exclude the parlay. You're going to end up plus 320 here, plus 280 there. Those little ticks help you become profitable over the season. I may be 50, 50, and 2 at the end of the year, but if you get 11 or 12 of those outright underdog winners at 3 plus 3, or 3 to 1 plus 350, even plus 400, like we got one last year with plus 410. Those are going to give you that extra boost to get, I always say live to bet another day, but it's so much more than that. So yeah, I do advocate for those dogs to be outright winners, but of course there's situations like this week. Stanford, I definitely like them in the points with a UCLA bubble burst situation. I just don't think they can go into LA and win the game outright. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So while I'd like to make a case for them to, I definitely have a lot of those dogs this week that I'm like, nope, taking the points, while I might not get to the window on the money line.
Yeah, great point. I mean, it's almost like I think with the legalized sports betting market becoming more mainstream, a lot of people bet football and it's not as much money line, it's more point spread. I think it almost resonates more with like MLB baseball bettors, hockey bettors that will understand what you're saying, because I think a lot of the new football bettors out there, which is okay, we're all new at one point, don't understand that as much, that big money line underdogs make a huge difference. That extra, that was a great point, Kelly, that extra tick up you get when they actually win the game. 157, 158, next game up as we're making our way down here. Every game on the board podcast. South Alabama, Arkansas State, heading to the Sun Belt here. Kelly, minus 10. So that's USA, who's been good. The Jaguars going to have to win by doubles, 54 being the total in Jonesboro, Arkansas, Kelly.
Drew, you're in the group chat I sent last week. I got a nice text from a former proxy customer saying, hey, Arkansas State's quarterback is not a go. So we all bet ULL and got the best of the information there, right? He does look to be back this week, and we'll see if that is a difference maker for this Red Wolves team. I want to like Arkansas State here at home, catching double digits, because they don't call it the Fun Belt for nothing. You've got South Alabama, who took UCLA to the wire, but this team lays an egg in the Sun Belt every single year. Is it going to be this week? Maybe. Just 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 as double-digit favorites. I lean towards Arkansas State here. And actually how it got put on my radar is I asked Twitter, I said, hey, I've got 2 dogs already. I need a third dog. I'm looking for a double-digit dog this week. And quite a few people mentioned Arkansas State. And I said, okay, fine, I'm going to look at it a little bit more. I actually made this game 8. So to be getting a little bit more than that shows me that there's some value here with the Red Wolves. Question is, at home with Blackman back, can they win this game? Is he 100%? So waiting on a little bit more information there out of Arkansas and monitoring the QB situation. And maybe we end up getting to the window with this Red Wolves team.
Home dog might be barking in Jonesboro. We head to the Big 12 up next. Oklahoma and Iowa State kicking us off on Saturday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific kick here. -1 at some shops. That's Oklahoma as the favorite, but you can find Pick'em at others, Kelly. So near Pick'em game here, 56 being the total in Ames. Sooners and Cyclones. Good one in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, is it though? Like, who would have thought this would have been a bottom feeder Big 12 matchup? You got Oklahoma, who lost 3 straight and then beat up on KU last week. You got Brent Venables here, who I kind of wanted to lobby for him to come to Manhattan, Kansas and be a head coach. He's a great defensive coordinator, but I can't figure out this Oklahoma team. Are they good? Have they quit? Do they care? We know they're loaded with talent. On the flip side, you got Matt Campbell, and this is just a really down year for his Iowa State team. They are taking after Big Brother Iowa and just so offensively inept. It's mind-boggling. It is a frustrating game. I'll take the slight nod here with Iowa State. I believe our good friend CT Betts likes Iowa State in this situation. I'm not going to be getting involved, but give me the home dog. Matt Campbell, 3-13 against the spread as a home dog, and that includes a cover against my Kansas State Wildcats this year.
Good point, Kelly. Maybe not that good of one. Maybe more competitively priced might have been the right word. It's 7:30 kick for our next game up, 161, 162. Arizona State at Colorado, minus 13.5. That's the Sun Devils as the road favorite. Couple 14s popping up, 46.5 being the total in Boulder.
God, Drew, if you give me 14 with Colorado, I might have to take it. One of the season win totals that Adam Trigger and I bet under this year was Colorado. I believe Joe Ranieri might have put us on that one. I'd have to double check. There's a lot that goes on in August when we're betting those in July, betting those season win totals. You've got Arizona State on one side. They've got an interim head coach looking okay, right? But this is they're in back-to-back road games. Boulder, Colorado. We always talk about the altitude. Weird stuff happens in Folsom Field. Now, I haven't been there for a long time since Colorado was in the Big 12, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Colorado be able to squeak out a win. We saw them do it against Cal here at home. How much do the Sun Devils care? Or maybe they're just in a flat spot in back-to-back road games. I haven't got to the window with Colorado yet, but for some reason, I keep circling back to this game going, what am I missing here? It's a tough one. I don't trust the Sun Devils laying 14 on the road, though. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's a tough bet to get behind for sure. You said you've been to Folsom. I've never been to Boulder. How is it, Kelly?
Oh, Boulder, Colorado used to be one of the best college campuses on the planet, Drew. It is completely ruined and disheveled at this point in time. I would not recommend it. I actually think Bozeman, Colorado is the new Boulder. But yeah, when I remember going there as a kid, and it was like so cool, so eclectic, so many fun bars. Boulder was like one of those just really fun college towns. And I remember thinking I wanted to go to college there at one point in time, but it's kind of lost its luster, if you will.
Gotcha. We got Colorado State at Boise State up next. Mountain West action here. 163, 164, 7 o'clock Eastern kick. Low total 43. And a high spread minus 27. These are so tough on me. Nearly a 4-touchdown favorite with a 43 as the total. Any interest here, KIV?
I mean, Colorado State's that bad though, right, Drew? That's the problem. And that's the old adage, if you will. I think Colorado State has a decent defensive line, and that could help them stay in this game. I'm also not sure who Boise State is to be laying 27 points. That seems like a lot. 21 points, 21 and a half. I could maybe get behind. At this point, it's too many. We should have asked Trig to do this game because he has been so obsessed with this freaking Colorado State team the last couple of weeks, and I have not understood it. Just 2-5 on the year, but they're sitting third in the Mountain West. I don't like this game whatsoever, so I'm going to pass.
Not sure it gets any better with the next one. Charlotte at Rice. Rice Owls minus 16.5 at home. 59.5 being the total in Houston.
So I actually had Charlotte circled to look at them going, who is Rice to be laying double digits at home? In the spot, if you remember, Charlotte's off a double-digit loss.
To
and
FIU,
now they're a dog. This is actually from Ralph Michaels' TNA this week. They cover at less than a 35% clip. So that was enough, even though Charlotte fired their head coach. Lots of drama going on. And typically I like to look at teams after they fire their head coach. But I think this one is just a little too gross for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation. It seems like Will Hilly had it going there at Charlotte. You know, they made a bowl game and everything, and now he's already fired. It's kind of life in 2022 being a head coach, right, Kelly?
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about, but it does happen. And depending on who your boss is and who your fan base is, sometimes they let certain things slide. But I guess being a big time favorite to FIU was enough for them to you waltz in there, get beat. It's not a good look.
No, not at all. As we're talking with Kelly Stewart here, part number 3 of the Every Game on the Board podcast, live on YouTube, Wager Talk YouTube, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. Every Game on the Board. Heading to the Conference of Champions up next here, Kelly. 7:00 Eastern, 167, 168 USC at Arizona. Trojans minus 15.5-point road favorites, 76.5 being the total.
I feel like these are the type of spots that Arizona wins a game outright. Always. They always surprise you as double-digit home dogs, like once a year, it seems like. But I've been betting against USC all year long. And guess what's been happening? I've been getting smoked. Yeah. I laid 3.5 with Utah a couple weeks ago. And, of course, Utah wins a game, doesn't cover. I did say that I thought it was going to be time for the Trojans to kind of be brought back down to life. If you remember, they just were benefiting from so many turnovers, and it just wasn't sustainable. We'll see if USC goes in there and just blows this team out. That we know they have the horses to do so. I think Arizona puts up a fight, though. I'll take the points, slightly lean here, but this was never in contention for my dog to win outright. But I would not be surprised if something stupid happened. I feel like that's what this Arizona team does. Either Arizona or Arizona State every year, double-digit home dog, and then all of a sudden, here we are. So I'll slightly lean towards this is too many points.
Okay, maybe look towards the dog there in the Pac-12. Heading Mountain West here, Battle of California Cities. San Diego State at Fresno State. We're seeing the Bulldogs minus 8.5, minus 9, depending where you're shopping. 40.5 being the total here, Kelly.
Yeah, shout out to the Fade You guys. I was looking at San Diego State and this one, and I said, hey, what's going on? What am I missing? Why are they laying 8? All those guys are a bunch of alumni. So we started digging a little deeper. I had them send some texts out. I said, okay, I need to know who's playing, who's not playing, like what's going on here. And they said, hey, it sounds like maybe you're not getting the best information in regards to Hainer. I said, everything I've read says he's out indefinitely. Is he playing? Is he not playing? Because the line kind of indicates to me that he might be. On the flip side, I don't think I could take the points with Brady Hoke. While he's shown some moments this season, being better and maybe getting this team to rate the ship. I don't know. We'll see how this one plays out, but keep an eye on the quarterback situation. Again, those guys, alumni, I asked them to check in on Jake Haener. Everything I'm reading online says he's out. Logan Fife is supposed to be in there. He looks like he's been playing better. We'll see how this one goes. But with so many question marks and unknowns, I have to pass.
Fade You guys. That was a fun night in Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
They got
it's always a bad night when those guys are around. And I mean, bad night for my liver.
For sure. As that is a late night Saturday degenerate special time slot, 10:30 Eastern. We got another one here in the Conference of Champions. Stanford UCLA. Bruins minus 16 and a hook, 66.5 being the total here, Kelly.
Yeah, Drew, we spoke about this one to start the show, and this is a bubble burst scenario for UCLA. And I know that the typical bubble burst argument is if a team loses as a favorite and they were an underdog, right? I was on them last week, and I would probably back them again here in that same situation, Drew. I think that the Ducks came out to play. Bo Nix looked like the second coming of Joe Namath, of course. That's usually how it works when I bet on bad quarterbacks. You get the good one for the game where you happen to take the points. But the last couple of years, it's been really close, at least by certain standards, right? It was UCLA won by 18, Stanford won by 1 in overtime, UCLA won by 11. And this is a Stanford team I was on versus USC. They can play tough because of their defense, but if they get in a shootout, they will lose football games. And I've got to look at this one a little bit more because Stanford is on my long list in a play against UCLA, losing that game in Eugene last week. So as long as, David Shaw doesn't kick 5 field goals, or on the other hand, maybe Chip Kelly does, like he did to me last week, Stanford can cover this game. My problem is really trying to figure out if they can win this game outright. I had them circled versus Notre Dame, and I did not play them, and it's been plaguing me ever since. So going back to that think long, think wrong thing, I keep thinking long on if Stanford can actually win this game.
Good stuff. Good breakdown as we got one game left. Check out Kelly Stewart at Barstool Sportsbook. She does a show Money Shots with Megan Making Money on the YouTube channel. She does Bet on It on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. If you want her NFL analysis, that's where you can find it. She also knows college basketball, obviously knows college football, as we got one game left here, Kelly. 173, 174, Oregon, California, 58 being the total. We're seeing the Ducks off of that big win laying 17 on the road in Berkeley.
Yeah, do you have to wonder if there's maybe a letdown spot brewing here, Drew? I kind of thought maybe there was, but I don't know. This Cal team, they got it done for me last week, right? Which by all means, awesome. Appreciate you guys at least covering the spread, even though they didn't get the outright win. If Oregon had somebody else on deck, like a USC or an Oregon State or even like a Utah, I would definitely be all over Cal. But because they have Colorado on deck, I kind of said, I do think this is too many points, but not sure I want to run to the window to bet against Bo Nix back-to-back weeks. We've seen him in the SEC. Obviously, you're an Auburn fan, and he just was never able to carve up those SEC defenses. But that's what he was able to do last week. Can he replicate that? I guess it remains to be seen. I made the game 14.5 at 17.5. I think it's too many points, but I don't think I'm going to be getting involved. This Cal team put up a hell of a fight last week for me, and that was about all I could ask for from them.
Like it, Kelly. Good breakdown. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Bo Nix, I like to bet on him versus bad defenses and against him versus really athletic, good defensive fronts, because he is a pretty good athlete. And if he can have the ability to move around, I think he's
and I think that Georgia game really skewed the perception on him to start the year, because that Georgia defense is going to make anybody look bad. Right. I guess we'll see what they do to Anthony Richardson this weekend, but just one of those things to think about when you're betting on these teams. We're looking for flat spots. We're looking for look aheads. We're looking coming off that big win over UCLA. The question is we know that they were favored. Do they know that they were supposed to win that game? It's kind of one of those scenarios, and you have to kind of get into the locker room to really find out what we're seeing. And as far as coaching goes, Ariel Epstein got a text earlier she sent about hearing some different drama in the Florida locker room. So kind of makes you go, And I said, you should share that with the group chat, because I know Drew Martin Betts likes Florida this week. We'll see. It's not the end all be all, but trying to gather the most information that you can when handicapping and being able to talk to people that are close to people in the locker room. Last week, Joe Ranieri came in huge for me with Spencer Sanders news. I was waiting, and I'm like, Joe, I've got to get this parlay out. I really like Oklahoma State. And everybody's like, oh, nope, I like Texas. I'm like, nope, not me, but I need to know Spencer is a go, because if he's not a go, it blows this whole thing wide open. Yeah. So some of that kind of information, and you got to take some of it with a grain of salt too, because I've been told wrong. I was told DeVito was out a couple weeks ago against for Illinois against Minnesota, and guess what? He was in. So you sometimes don't get the best information, but you got to sift through and really try to decide what's the most important part for you. And I would, again, love to bet against Bo Nix here, but I think maybe he's really coming to his own there in Oregon.
Yeah, great betting advice there, Kelly. It's about good information, accurate information. That's what matters. Kelly, speaking of Oklahoma State, some guys on my Twitter, I gave out a casino pick on Oklahoma State +1.5 this weekend. Wrong team favored. I told them I would ask your opinion on the game. What are you thinking as a K-State alum?
I'm thinking I'm mad that I didn't take the +2 when it came out on Sunday night, Drew. I saw the +2. I thought, okay, everybody's going to overreact to Adrian Martinez either being back in or being back out. I literally opened the Wager Talk odds screen on Monday afternoon. I was like, wait, did I read that wrong? And I had to go back through Twitter. And I was like, it was +2. I was not drinking with Uncle Ben. Like, I was sober. There was a +2, right? And sure enough, there was. And the line flipped because I do think that a lot of people think Adrian is going to be a go, and I wish I had some definitive answer for you guys. I don't. I've texted a couple different people that I obviously know within the organization, a lot of media personalities, things like that, and they said, hey, listen, it's a game time decision. Right now his knee's swollen. He's having some issues. Are they going to drain it? What are they going to do here? The good news is Will Howard is a very serviceable quarterback. Unfortunately, he got hurt last week versus TCU, and we saw a third stringer waltz right in and throw an interception. So if that ends up happening, K-State's going to lose the game. If Will Howard can go in there and stay healthy the full game, I don't think there's much drop-off. Remember, Will Howard was Skylar Thompson's backup. He elected not to transfer and played behind Adrian Martinez. K-State got Adrian Martinez kind of on a whim because his girlfriend plays soccer there. And I've been pretty happy with him thus far as quarterback play goes. But I would much rather have them start Will Howard this week and give Adrian the final 3 weeks of the season if that's what he truly does need. It sounds like he might have been a little banged up going into the TCU game, and they elected to play him, and that's when he got hurt. So everything I'm hearing is 50-50 game time decision, and that's unfortunate because I wish I had something more definitive to say. But I missed on the +2 as a fan, as a over 6.5 season win total
Ticket
better.
holder. Yeah.
I just have to hope K-State wins the game, but I'm not going to be getting to the window with them. I took the +4.5 last Monday versus TCU. I'm walking to the Morgan Wallen concert. It's 28-10, loving life. I get out and I'm going, what the F happened here? Like what? And I'm getting texts, finally coming through, and I'm going, okay, great. And it was not a very fun one, Drew. So hopefully that does not happen this weekend. But yeah, I could see Spencer Sanders coming in and playing a really good game. K-State has a solid pass rush. But sometimes you have to wonder when you keep overachieving like Oklahoma State has, and maybe other people don't see it that way. But I do. I think that this team, I had them projected to finish third in the Big 12. I still haven't projected to finish third in the Big 12, but I'm very happy that last week they were able to get the win over Texas. But those come behind wins. Those kind of things start to mount with you. If Oklahoma State gets ahead, the good news is K-State can't play catch up. So something to think about there.
K-State insider, Big 12 conference insider, Kelly Stewart, knows her college football. Check her out, Barstool Sportsbook, wagertalk.com, bet on it, The Hustle, all over the Wager Talk YouTube channel and right here on the Every Game on the Board podcast. Please smash that like button. Feel free to comment below where you agree, where you disagree, what you're looking to bet. Kelly, any final thoughts for the show? And can you leave us with a most confident play that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's tough. I think I'm going to go with West Virginia as my most confident play over TCU. Okay. And not to discredit the 7-0 Horned Frogs here, Drew, but I'm going to discredit the 7-0 Horned Frogs here. I'm sorry. They've had a lot of luck on their side. They played 4 straight ranked opponents up until last week. West Virginia at home versus West Virginia on the road are completely different teams. Mountaineers have cashed 6 straight against the Horned Frogs. I think this one we get 7. I do think they are worth a sprinkle on the money line.
All right. Oh, yeah. You can get 7.5 right now with West Virginia at home. So that's Kelly Stewart, part number 3 in the books. We'll be right back with part number 4 this afternoon. Robbie Vino finishing off the Every Game on the Board podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Smash that like button. Cash those